Self-control is strength. Right thoughts are mastery. Calmness is power. This was the quote of James Allen. 2 days ago, when I was making changes to my presentation at my home, I was struggling. I was redoing stuff that I wasn't supposed to, and things were getting worse and worse for me. Then here he comes, the tiny little bug. It was running through my legs, and I was so angry because it was so annoying. Later that day, I came to realize that while my hands were typing words of peace, my mind was filled with anger and violence. Nice to meet you. I'm Ukrit from Sarasas Across School. Now you might be wondering why I informed you of this story. Well, this question will be answered later on in the presentation. What leads to violent acts? Why did I feel angry with that little bug, even though it did nothing to me? I believe that lack of inner peace is the main reason for violence. Lack of inner peace not only causes self-violence, but also world violence. For example, there's a leader who wants to conquer another state because that state has loads of goals and he wants them. Then he told his community about the attack he is preparing. Later, the community started announcing this information to the citizens to tell them that you have to be aware. Then, at that moment, the whole country was filled with greed of wanting those goals which are not theirs. Then the leader declared war and also invited his allies to join him. Then the war began. People started to lose their lives. The whole country was full of bloodshed. Rivers were red for weeks. With the example I just gave to you, I just explained to you the whole process of war. But there's more to come. Don't forget what happens after the war. Those mothers and wives crying all over the country. The sadness on everyone's face. This is just the effect on society, but what about the effect on the state itself, such as political instability, economic disruption, and global warming? Dear audience, this all chaos was caused by one man's greed. What could have I done to avoid being angry to that little bug? How could we end conflicts in our society? Firstly, accomplishing inner peace with the support of meditation and growth mindset. These two are really beneficial as it regulates the sensory and emotional parts of your brain, according to Mindful Leader Organization. Secondly, to put oneself in another's shoes, meaning don't act in ways that you don't like to others, or to love others as you love yourself. Lastly, to engage in conversation, meaning don't talk about differences. For instance, why are you talking to a transgender about their gender? But instead, talk to them about things you both relate and you are both interested in. Before we go into details, let me just say that this is the topic I value highly, since it makes achieving peace easier. 25% tipping point means that roughly 25% of people need to take a stand before a large social change occurs. In other words, if I can convince 25% of my friends to not get angry with small little bugs and tell them that they're just living their life like us, then later, not only those 25%, but all of my friends won't get angry with small little bugs. Do you recall the question I asked you earlier about why I shared the bug story? Well, the reason behind telling you the bug story was to make you aware of the fact that if a small, tiny bug could make me angry, what would happen if it was a bigger issue? I want you all, including myself, to remember that self-control is strength, right thoughts are mastery, and calmness is power. This was the quote I told you at the start of my presentation. Remember, both peace and violence is within ourselves. It is up to you whether you would choose to eliminate the violence and preserve the peace, or be weak and lost into your own anger, greediness, and egos, and show the world that you can't control yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in the 21st century. We have to step up our game. There are bigger problems to face in life. Don't waste time with violence and later in the future regret it. The first thing I want you to do today when you live here today is to unify and bring about the real change that our world needs. Then I assure you, we will arrive at peace. That, ladies and gentlemen, was what I wanted to share with you today. But before I end, I want to leave with a quote from Lord Buddha. One moment can change a day. One day can change a life. And one life can change the world. Thank you.